Chapter 13: The Use of Spies. Overview. Chapter 13: The Use of Spies discusses the critical importance of using espionage to gather intelligence in warfare and elaborates on the categories and proper methods for employing spies. Sun Tzu placed great emphasis on the role of espionage, believing it to be a decisive factor in winning battles. He asserted that armies often rely on intelligence from spies to make strategic decisions. Those who are willing to spend lavishly on titles and gold but neglect the use of spies, he criticized as follows: "They are the height of cruelty, unfit to be generals, unworthy to serve as the ruler's aides, and incapable of achieving victory." How can one know the enemy? How does one achieve foreknowledge? Sun Tzu answered, "Foreknowledge cannot be obtained from ghosts or spirits, nor by analogy with past events, nor by calculations or measurement. It must be obtained from people, those who truly know the enemy's situation." Sun Tzu categorized spies into 5 types. Local spies. Spies recruited from among the people living in the enemy's countryside. Inside spies. Enemy officials who are bribed or otherwise persuaded to act as spies. Double agents. Spies sent by the enemy who are turned to work for our side. Doomed spies. Our own agents who deliberately pass false information to the enemy, often at the cost of their lives. Surviving spies. Those who infiltrate the enemy and return with accurate intelligence. The first 3 types of spies rely on utilizing enemy personnel, while the last 2 are sent from our own side to infiltrate the enemy. When all 5 types are used in coordination, intelligence sources become richly diverse, enabling operations that leave the enemy completely confused. This is the height of strategic subtlety. Among them, intelligence gained through double agents is the most valuable. Thus, double agents must be especially well rewarded and treated with the utmost care. 1. Victory comes from intelligence, not superstition. Sun Tzu said generally, when a force of 100,000 soldiers is mobilized to launch a long-distance expedition of 1,000 miles into another country, the expenses borne by the people and the state's provisions amount to thousands of gold pieces per day. Both the domestic and frontier regions fall into chaos, with supply lines stretched thin, and over 700,000 households unable to maintain their livelihoods due to the war efforts. Such prolonged standoffs that last for years are all for the sake of victory on a single day. If one is too stingy to reward and employ spies, leading to a lack of knowledge about the enemy and ultimate defeat, then such a person is the most unbenevolent, not a capable commander, unworthy to assist the sovereign, and certainly not a leader who can win wars. An enlightened ruler and a virtuous general triumph because they gain intelligence in advance. To know the enemy beforehand, one must not rely on divinations or supernatural signs. One must not draw analogies from past incidents, nor try to read omens from celestial movements. Instead, all useful intelligence must come from people, those who are familiar with the enemy's situation. Reflections. Foreknowledge is a crucial concept in The Art of War, by Sun Tzu, closely related to intelligence. The goal of knowing oneself and the enemy, of understanding the heavens and the terrain, is to achieve foreknowledge. In warfare, to truly gain foreknowledge, one must rely heavily on the use of spies. If one is stingy with money, they may instead be corrupted by the enemy's gold and end up betraying their own interests, causing harm to the fundamental interests of the state. The states of Yu and Guo were 2 neighboring small countries during the spring and autumn period, bound by an alliance and friendly relations. At that time, the powerful state of Jin sought to compete with the state of Chu for dominance over the central plains. In order to attack Guo, Jin needed to move south, but Yu lay in between, making a direct assault difficult. In 658 BC, Sun Shi, a high official of Jin, learned that the ruler of Yu was greedy and easily tempted by profit. He presented the ruler with rare horses and precious jade. The ruler of Yu, unaware of Sun Shi's true intentions, was overjoyed at the gifts. Soon she then further flattered the ruler with honeyed words, which delighted him even more. As a result, the ruler not only agreed to allow Jin to pass through Yu to attack Gua, but also offered to send troops to assist. He completely forgot about the alliance between Yu and Gua and the principle of sharing the same fate as lips and teeth. In 655 BC, the Jin army, taking the route through Yu, attacked and destroyed Gua, and then, on their way back, wiped out Yu as well. 2. The 5 types of spies, the supreme strategy of kings. Therefore, the use of spies falls into 5 categories: local spies, inside spies, double agents, doomed spies, and surviving spies. When all 5 types are employed together in harmony and no one can discern their operations, it becomes a divine strategy, one of the most precious tools of a sovereign. A. Local spy is recruited from among the enemy's local population. An inside spy is a government official of the enemy who has been induced to serve our side. A. Double agent is an enemy spy who has been turned to work for us. A. Doomed spy is one who spreads false information publicly, allowing it to reach the enemy through our own spies, fully aware that such deception may cost the spy their life. A. Surviving spy is one who successfully infiltrates the enemy and returns alive with valuable intelligence. Reflections. Here, Sun Tzu outlines 5 types of espionage and emphasizes that only by alternating and combining these methods can one achieve unpredictability, turning intelligence gathering into a powerful weapon for defeating the enemy. Sun Tzu believed that in order to fully understand the enemy, spies must be employed comprehensively to broaden the sources of information. This enables the collection of complete, precise, and thorough intelligence upon which appropriate military actions can be based, leaving the enemy confused and unprepared, and ultimately allowing one's army to achieve victory. During the Warring States period, Prince Xinling of Wei employed various methods to recruit spies from all directions, allowing him to gain a deep understanding of both domestic and foreign affairs. Once, while playing chess with the King of Wei, a beacon fire suddenly signaled an alert from the north, reporting that the state of Zhao had sent troops to invade Wei. The king was thrown into panic, but Prince Xinling calmly remarked that the King of Zhao was merely out hunting. A while later, news came confirming it was just the King of Zhao hunting. The king asked Prince Xinling how he had known, and he replied, "One of my retainers gathered the information." It turned out that Prince Xinling had many retainers who acted as spies and had infiltrated deep into the leadership of the state of Zhao. This shows that even as early as the spring and autumn and warring states periods, espionage warfare was already highly developed. 3. The subtle art and supreme importance of espionage. Thus, in all military affairs, nothing is more trustworthy than the use of spies, nothing is more generously rewarded, and nothing requires greater secrecy. Only a commander of exceptional wisdom can direct spies, only one of deep humanity and integrity can effectively use them, and only one of divine insight can truly grasp and obtain reliable intelligence from them. How subtle! How subtle! There is nothing that cannot be achieved through the use of spies. If a spy's mission is leaked before it is carried out, both the spy and anyone who disclosed the secret must be executed. Whenever an army is to be attacked, a city to be assaulted, or a person to be assassinated, it is absolutely necessary to first identify the names of the key commanders, close attendants, chamberlains, gatekeepers, and personal aides, and our spies must be ordered to discover this information without fail. Reflections. In this passage, Sun Tzu emphasizes the critical importance and special status of spies. Within a military force, the most trusted individuals are the spies. Due to the unique nature of their role, spies must be treated differently from others. They should be granted the highest rewards in order to inspire their absolute loyalty and dedication, fulfilling the ideal that a warrior dies for one who truly understands him. Some have said, "Choose those with virtue, talent, and strategy. those capable of establishing close connections with high-ranking figures in the enemy's camp, observing their movements and uncovering their plans so that we may know their actions with certainty. In other words, one must select wise and capable individuals who can gain the trust of the enemy's key personnel, thereby gathering intelligence on their operations, military strategies, and overall intentions, then return safely to report their findings. These are the essential functions of a spy. A classic example is Han Xian's battle at Jingxing against the state of Zhao. It was through the work of spies that Han Xian learned that Chu Yu had rejected the strategic advice of Li Zuocha. Only after receiving this intelligence did Han Xian make the decisive move to advance through the Jingxing Pass. 4. The central role of double agents in the art of espionage. It is essential to uncover the spies that the enemy has sent to investigate our situation. Once identified, they must be generously bribed, persuaded, and guided, then sent back. In this way, they become double agents and can be used for our own purposes. With intelligence from the double agents, we can then deploy the local spies, those familiar with the area, and inside spies, enemy officials. With such insight, we can effectively use doomed spies to feed false information to the enemy. And through such knowledge, we can ensure that returning spies bring back accurate reports at the appointed time. Among the 5 types of spies, the key lies in the double agents, and therefore they must be treated with great favor. In ancient times, the Shang dynasty rose to power because of Yi Ji's service within the Xia court. The Zhou dynasty succeeded through Liu Ye's role in the Yin court. Thus, wise rulers and skilled generals, if able to use spies with keen intelligence and strategic insight, will surely achieve extraordinary results. This is the essence of warfare. It is through espionage that the movements of the entire army are determined. Reflections. Sun Tzu emphasized the concept of knowing yourself and knowing the enemy, and you will never be defeated. To truly know the enemy, the most effective method is the use of spies. Penetrating the enemy ranks to gather intelligence. Therefore, the history of warfare, both ancient and modern, can also be seen as a history of espionage. Sun Tzu regarded the use of spies as a prerequisite for military victory, and he viewed the ability to employ espionage as a vital skill for any military commander. At the same time, he recognized that intelligence gained from spies may not always be accurate and warned against being deceived by enemy counterintelligence. Thus, he cautioned, subtle. There is no place where espionage should not be used. Sun Tzu provided a comprehensive discussion of espionage, particularly emphasizing the use of double agents. The 36 stratagems in its 33rd stratagem describes, use the enemy's own spies to turn them into our spies. The idea is to create a layer of deception by turning enemy spies into assets who work for us, misleading the enemy while helping ourselves achieve victory. Double agent tactics involve 2 main strategies. When an enemy spy is discovered or captured, instead of exposing or executing him, he is secretly bribed or coerced to provide false intelligence to his original side. If the enemy spy's mission is uncovered, we pretend not to know, deliberately revealing misleading information to manipulate the enemy's decisions. One example appears in records of the Eastern Studio. During the Qingli era under Emperor Renzong of the Song dynasty, a man from Lin Prefecture told the ruler of Western Xia, Zhao Yuanhao, that Lin had no well water and could be easily taken by siege. Zhao Yuanhao believed the claim and besieged the city. After several days, Lin Prefecture ran out of water and the situation grew desperate. A soldier advised spreading mud from the moat onto the grass at the top of the city walls so that water would seep down, giving the illusion that the city had ample water. The plan worked. When Zhao saw the damp grass, he assumed the report was false and executed the man who had given him the idea, then lifted the siege. Perhaps the most famous use of counterintelligence in Chinese history was orchestrated by Wang Yun, a prominent minister during the late Eastern Han Dynasty. Born into an influential family, Wang Yun held several important government positions. During the power struggle after Emperor Ling's death, Dong seized control of the court and installed a puppet emperor. His actions, overthrowing the young emperor, murdering the empress dowager, promoting his own cronies, led to outrage. Wang Yun realized that Dong Zhuo, not an external enemy, posed the greatest threat to the Han dynasty. Yet Dong Zhuo was protected by his powerful adopted son, Lu Bu, a skilled warrior feared across the empire. No one dared challenge Dong Zhuo directly. Wang Yun adopted a strategy of deception, outwardly loyal, inwardly plotting. He observed that both Dong Zhuo and Lu Bu were lustful, and he devised a plan to drive a wedge between them using a honey trap. In Wang Yun's household was a beautiful and intelligent courtesan named Diao Chan. Seeing Wang Yun troubled, she offered to help. Inspired, Wang Yun adopted her as his daughter and hatched a plan. First, Wang Yun privately promised Diao Chan to Lu Bu. Enchanted by her beauty and grateful to Wang Yun, Lu Bu was overjoyed. The next day, Wang Yun invited Dong Zhuo to a banquet and introduced Diao Chan, who performed a dance. Dong Zhuo was immediately captivated. Wang Yun pretended to offer her to Dong Zhuo, who accepted gladly, and took her away. When Lu Bu found out, he was furious. He confronted Wang Yun, who feigned helplessness. How could I refuse the Grand Tutor's request? And how could I tell him she was yours? Lu Bu believed him and began to resent Dong Zhuo. The father-son bond between them began to crack. Diao Chan, meanwhile, continued to sow discord between the two. Eventually, the rift grew too deep. One day, Dong Zhuo arrived at court but noticed Lu Bu missing. He rushed back to his residence, only to find Lu Bu embracing Diao Chan in the garden. Furious, he attacked Lu Bu, who barely dodged the strike. Though Lu Bu was angry, he still hesitated to kill his adoptive father. Wang Yun seized the moment, urging Lu Bu to act. You are not truly father and son. He stole your wife and tried to kill you. The people hate him. Kill him and you'll be a hero. Lu Bu was moved. If I don't kill that traitor, I am not a man, he declared. Wang Yun arranged a trap. Under the guise of a royal edict summoning Dong Zhuo to receive the throne, Dong Zhuo entered the palace, flanked by his guards. But Lu Bu's soldiers, disguised as palace guards, lay in wait. As Dong Zhuo reached the side gate, he was ambushed. Hearing his name, he turned and cried out to Lu Bu for help. Lu Bu stood firm and declared, "In the name of the emperor, die, traitor." He struck Dong Zhuo down with his halberd. Dong Zhuo's death was met with cheers from the court. His reign of terror had ended, and Wang Yun's cunning strategy not only rid the empire of a tyrant, but shifted the course of late Han history. His use of counterintelligence and careful manipulation stands as a powerful example of Sun Tzu's principle. All warfare is based on deception.